Good morning. Welcome to No Home Training. I am Jessica Kozlowski. I'm a psychic medium, healer, life coach, and professional cat lady. I have my awesome guest, Nancy, here. Nancy, hi, how are you?
I am doing fantastic. How are you? Things going great?
I'm great. Oh, yes, I'm good. I'm like half asleep, but that's okay. So,
Well, I'm a little
um,
very steamy. It is very warm here in Massachusetts, so like the hair is going to
oh,
slowly be
dang,
growing as the show continues. So,
that's funny. So, would you like to introduce yourself?
yes, so I'm very excited about this topic today because this is exactly what I do is I help women rewrite their story. So I'm a wellness coach and I help women get rid of that baggage, those subconscious thoughts and from the experiences that they developed, and they're taking that as their story, but that's not their story. Those are the untruths that they have carried with them for umpteen years. I carried mine with mine for 40 years until I started doing work on myself and healing, and that's what I'm here to help women do is become their authentic self, speak their truth, live their truth, and reevaluate values and beliefs. And I am also a cat person and a dog person, so I have four animals. Yeah, love my pets dearly.
That is awesome. You know, it's so funny when I tell people that I love cats, they're like, "So you don't like dogs?" And I'm like, "No, I love dogs too." Oh my God. Like, I'm not like some dog people who are like, "Oh, I don't like cats." Like, I can't imagine just not liking an animal, but okay.
Yeah.
So,
So I just want to
yeah.
say one more thing. Nature is my go-to. Love
Yeah.
nature. I incorporate nature into my wellness work with these women. And it's literally mind, body, soul. We are nature, right? We
Oh
belong
yeah.
back in nature. It teaches us lessons, and that's my go-to therapy.
Yes, no, I am totally the same. It's funny. In my astrology chart, out of like all the planets, like there's like 10 of them or something, because you like count the sun and the moon and stuff.
Right.
7 of them are in earth signs.
Wow.
I'm
That's
like, oh my
awesome.
God. Yeah. So, but yeah, our topic today is rewriting your story, which is amazing because that is something that I have been working on myself, especially more so like the last few months. So I'm excited to talk about this.
Yeah, this
So,
is a great topic. And people don't really think about it because they believe this story that they've been telling themselves for so many years, right? It's like it's embedded in them, and they don't realize that it's like that onion, call it whatever you right, peel those layers off to get to the
mhm,
truth. Um,
yes.
you know, so this is gonna be great. I'm excited.
Oh yeah. Okay. Let's throw that first video up there and we will talk about it then.
Great.
Message and it I have one more message and it just came over me so heavily. This is for people who felt alone, who felt ostracized, who felt just like they just don't fit in. It's time for you to start using that story to your advantage. Because guess what? Your subconscious has already programmed your mind to think that nobody is gonna like you, right? Because of all the shit that you went through when you were a kid. Trust me, I fucking understand. So you might as well start using it to your advantage. This is what I'm talking about. Yes, I don't fit in because I'm not meant to fit in. I don't fit in and I don't go with the crowd because I'm not meant to be in the crowd. I'm meant to be in front of the crowd. I'm meant to be the leader. I'm meant to be someone different from everybody else. I'm meant to be cut from a different cloth. I'm meant to just be on some different shit. Stop telling this story over and over again from a space of shame and start telling it from a perspective of this is actually what makes me me and is exactly going to be what's going to take me to my success that I've been literally praying for.
Okay, Nancy, what would you like to say about that video?
I love her because she's raw and she says it the way it is. And I have this little term: we are all uniquely beautiful. Okay, we
Mhm.
are unique. Yes, our DNA is only like maybe 2% different, right? But we're all similar, but we all have our unique gifts, and we need to live authentically as ourselves. We don't need to wear those masks, be in the box, what society tells us how we're supposed to live. But this has been going on for generations, right? So my grandparents taught my parents this is the way you're supposed to live your life. This is how you're supposed to be. This is how you're supposed to act. This is what you're supposed to do and what you're supposed to have. And then that carries on to my parents. My parents taught me that, thinking that you're supposed to be a doctor, a lawyer, you got to work in an office, you have to get married at this age, you have to do all X, Y, and Z. And it's like, who came up with this crap? Who came up with this crap? Like, break me free. Let me find out who I am, accept me for who I am. Because you know what? I'm sick of lying and putting on that different mask every single day just to please other people. It's about pleasing yourself, living, again, your authentic self. Because when you are authentic, there's no more mask. There was a freedom, there was a liberation. And yeah, it's great. And people, they're more accepting of that, to be honest with you. At first, they're afraid, right? They're afraid of, okay, who's this person? Because they're not like everyone else, so to speak. I call it drinking the Kool-Aid, right? We're not following everybody else in those patterns.
Drinking the Kool-Aid
That's my thing. Yeah.
as opposed to drinking alcohol?
Nope, drinking the Kool-Aid because it's following what you were told to do, what society tells you to do, and how you're supposed to behave, what your parents, so everybody's drinking that same cup of Kool-Aid,
Okay.
believing this is how we're supposed to be and what we're supposed to do.
Nice.
Yeah, it's
It's
just a pattern,
funny.
right? Keeping that pattern going.
Oh yeah, no, like I was gonna say, it's funny because like I said, well, I said before at the beginning of the show that I've also been kind of working on this rewriting my own story thing for the past few months, and I noticed that it can be even just little things like beginning to eat vegetables. Maybe you didn't eat
Mhm.
vegetables before. It could be now you go for walks, and it's like people don't want to, I guess, step out of that comfort zone of like not doing those things, especially because it's like, well, maybe the people around them don't do those things, and like they're not going to be able to relate to those people anymore. And then you want to conform, you want to belong, so you kind of just stay stuck because you have your people and you don't know who your people are going to be when you get to where you want to be or if they're even going to still be around anymore.
Right. I've actually found, so if you want to say my journey, my rewriting of my story started when I was 40. I'm in my 50s now. And I have found, like, everybody I've met has always had a lesson to teach me, right? Because I do believe everyone has a lesson to teach. And the same as us, we have a lesson to teach them. But you don't realize that until you're going through rewriting your story.
Oh yeah.
That 10 years ago, my friend Sue helped me to get where I am today. And it's
Hmm.
interesting. And I love when you say about stepping out of the comfort zone, because we're fear, right? We live in that state of fear-based insecurities. And it's, again, living in the ego, honestly. We're living in an ego mind, which is fear, and it needs to keep feeding you fear in order to survive. But when you start breaking out of the comfort zone, that's when all this stuff starts coming in more of, what are you doing? The self-doubt, the lack of self-acceptance and self-worth, more because you are stepping out and becoming the person that you want to be, and the ego starting to dissipate. It's still going to be there, but it's not talking or screaming to you, like I like to say, every single day. And it is step by step, Jessica, like you said. It's not some big leap that you take. It's just small little things.
It's funny because like it's yes, it is small little things. I also believe that it can be in some cases a big thing and you don't realize it until after it's happened. Like it could be
Yeah.
some kind of an epiphany that you had or a realization or you made some kind of connection and you're like, "Oh." And then now you know this information and you have it in your little toolbox of things to use and know so that you can basically continue on your journey with what you're doing and like how you're trying to how you not trying, you are how you are improving yourself.
Yeah, 100%. But it's like you said, it's so either way, for me, it was this massive epiphany, and it was actually something tragic that happened. I was already starting at age 40 to work through this, rewriting my story, but then my parents died 2 months apart from me, not 2 months, 10 months apart from each other, and that was just like a snap went off inside my mind, and I'm like, wait a minute. And as my husband said, I did a 180, really started reevaluating my life, and I was like on fast forward, just trying to learn who am I, why am I here, all this information. And my connection that really helped me was getting into nature, going out hiking, walking, going by a lake, just sitting there, bike riding, anything outdoors, and a lot of alone time. I don't know if you found that, but it's a lot of
Yeah.
reflection.
Oh yeah. No, I definitely. I mean, even yesterday, like I've been on this, the self-development, self-love journey. I took myself out on a date yesterday, and I've never, ever, ever done that before. And what's so amazing is I was actually comfortable and content being by myself,
Hmm.
which is
Hmm.
amazing because I never, ever, ever would have gone to a movie by myself.
Hmm.
But I don't identify with that old me anymore. Like, yay, about the old me did serve me. It just doesn't serve me anymore. And so now I'm stepping into this new me, this empowered me, this like me that actually loves herself and
Hmm.
feels comfortable with
Hmm.
herself.
Hmm.
And I'm seeing like people just don't understand it. Be-
So again, they don't understand. So I'll say they don't understand, but I think they also don't realize that they can shift. I'm going to say a box, right? Out of that box from what everybody else. So kudos to you for going to the movies by yourself because that's huge, right?
yeah.
Because, like you said, the old self would be like, what are people going to think? I'm alone. I have no
Yes.
friends. I don't have a date, or a partner or whatever. Like, who cares? And it's
Yeah, yeah.
so fulfilling. Isn't it so fulfilling? Like, it fills your soul. It
Yeah.
just feels great when you do that. So I have never done that by myself. I have to say, the movies, I have not done that. So that's huge. I've gone out to eat by myself, things like that. I actually find, I don't know about you, but the more things that I do alone and learn more about myself, that I will take more chances. And I don't want to say chances, but stepping out of the comfort zone, right? I'll do more of that.
Yeah. Oh
So
yeah.
yeah, it's huge. And I also love that you talk about, everything that happened in the beginning was meant to happen to get us to where we are at this point today. Because if we didn't have all those lessons, we wouldn't be here and we wouldn't be starting the journey or on the journey.
Oh yeah, my life would be so boring.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. And I feel like for sure that this journey goes on to the day that you're not here. It just continues on and on. There's always something to learn from somebody or about, about yourself. And every day I like really fully listen to other people because I know they have something to teach me and to help me
Oh yeah.
grow.
Yes, including the people that infuriate us.
100%. Do you know what? I have learned the most from them. I joke, literally, I say like 95% of my friends for years and even up to this day are total opposite of me. But I've learned so much from them. It's actually taught me how to not be judgmental for them or myself, just be really open and accepting. I don't have to believe in their values and their belief system, but I have to respect them because it is about respect.
Right.
So
Okay, let's throw a second video up here and we will talk about that.
great.
I'm going to do even better for you. Instead of asking yourself some questions, I'm going to give you some actions that you can take to start to get to know yourself. Let's do 3 actions. The first one is going to be disconnect from the world a bit. When you're always consuming what everyone else thinks, what everyone else feels is successful, what everyone else wants you to do with your life, it's really hard to hear your internal voice. So if that means taking a social media detox, just taking some time to yourself in nature, taking some time to truly sit with yourself. Like, when was the last time you actually just sat and did nothing in silence? Doing that is going to help you just get in tune with your own thoughts and maybe sift and sort and see what you're happy with in your life, what you're not happy with. Maybe you can even do some journaling. The second thing I want you to do is take yourself on a little date. Maybe something you've never done. I want you to think of yourself as a new friend. Do you know a new friend as soon as you meet them? No, you have to spend time with them, do experiences with them, get in uncomfortable situations with them. That's the same for you. I want you to take yourself out on a date, whether it's going to the zoo, going to pottery class, and just spend time with yourself doing a new experience. You're going to learn a lot about yourself, even if you think you're not. The third one is going to be journaling. Journaling has helped me love myself so deeply. I want you to get a journal out and just write a list of all the things that you love about yourself, all the things you're proud of yourself for, all the things that you want to learn more about yourself. Just having a stream of consciousness without judgment is going to help you get some of your thoughts on paper, and it's another form of sitting with yourself and just getting to know yourself.
What's funny is I've I've had a lot of resistance with the journaling portion, but that's because I just generally don't like writing.
Mhm.
It's my handwriting is pretty sloppy and my hand starts to hurt and I'm like, I don't want to do this. But however, it has been helpful. I have been um I don't know what this is. Like there's the what's the opposite of the resisting or pushing against the resistance? Anyway, the point is I've been doing that and it has been helpful. So,
So I think, sorry, um,
oh, go ahead.
I think you have to find what works for you. So I struggle with journaling. I use it with my clients. A lot of them love it, but I struggle with it. I have a hard time. I can write a story, a blog, all that, but just sitting there and writing my thoughts, and I've done it. And it definitely works. Like I said, the majority of my clients enjoy it, but I struggle with that. Mine is just, as she said, separating myself, sitting alone, and just what do I feel, right? Not listening to this, because when you're alone, your ego, your mind will quiet, and you can hear what's going on within. I call it, we have three minds, and you know that, right? So we have the ego, we have our soul, heart center, and then our intuition. And so when you sit often with yourself, the mind quiets and you can hear what your heart center or soul and your intuition is saying. And it's eye-opening. It's incredible what you hear. But I feel like people are afraid to be alone because when you're alone, those thoughts that come up usually are of lack. Again, all that fear-based insecurities. But the more you do it, the less that talk continues and the more you're able to reflect and connect with yourself.
Yeah, through this whole self-development journey and the healing and everything, I've definitely noticed I'm definitely a lot less resistant to dealing with like the heavy emotions and things like that, but in the beginning it was very difficult because I didn't want to feel anything. I really just I never spent any time in my heart. I spent my entire life basically in my brain because it was safer
Yeah,
somehow.
yeah, it's true. I'm going to tell you, for 1 year when I went through this massive healing, so it must have been like at least 10 layers of that onion that came off. I literally would be in a store. I remember being at TJ Maxx, and all of a sudden, my eyes started filling up, and I'm like, filling up, and I'm like, what's going on? Oh my gosh, is anybody seeing me? Like, this is not me. What's happening? But that's like a cleansing. You think about going to
Yeah.
the ocean, right? Water cleanses. Crying is a cleanser. It's like you don't have to be embarrassed about it. It's actually good. Let that out, release it out. So once I
Hmm.
started realizing, okay, this is fine, just let it go. Did I stay in TJ Maxx? Did I buy the things I had in my carriage? No, I didn't. I left it, went into the car, and just let it come and let it go. And it would happen at home. I'd be working out, and all of a sudden it would just come on like that. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong. It's just releasing what no longer serves you. And this is the way that it released through me. Everybody's different, but don't resist it.
Right. Yeah, no, yeah, no, I'm just like thinking about my own things because like sometimes it just comes out of nowhere. Like you were just
Mhm,
saying, it'll be like you have been doing all this work on yourself.
mhm,
You remember something maybe from your childhood,
mhm,
and then you make a connection like, oh, that was a coping mechanism that
mhm,
I used to do.
mhm,
And then you're like, well, what was the coping mechanism for? And then you
mhm,
realize, oh, it was because I was feeling unwanted or unloved or something. And then, bam, you start sobbing
mhm,
because it's just like it's finally actually coming out. Like you're
mhm,
acknowledging it, it's come to
mhm,
the surface, and now it's time to release it.
mhm. So, and and again, coping mechanism, we just keep pushing all this garbage down, keep pushing it and pushing it. And there's so many layers within us that I believe it does. It takes years to keep shedding that and letting that go. But again, it's a more freeing, liberating feeling. And I had the same thing. Long story short, I'll go quick. I know we know the video, but I didn't realize that I need to heal from experiences as a child because I thought I'm fine, I'm great, I'm confident. Well, I really wasn't confident. I appeared to be confident because I had so many great masks that made me appear that way. And I was like a therapist to my mother who was depressed. And I didn't realize until years later when she was 80, she was depressed because a neighbor did something to her. And for 80 years, she suffered and carried that with her. So, me being the therapist, I just thought, like, okay, at 10 years old, I'm doing this, thought it was normal. Doesn't everybody else do this, their mother? And realized again when I was in my 40s that, oh my gosh, I need to heal from that. I shouldn't have had to do that. I shouldn't have had to try to keep the peace in the house and get to know about her moods, when they were going to come up or how they were going to be. So it's interesting to be able to look back, but it's also interesting to see why something happened. I understand and I feel sad for what she had to go through for all those years. So that's why it's important for us to release and let go of all this baggage that we've been carrying.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, we don't have to get through all the videos, but we can get through at least I think like one more. So, Yoruba, can you please put the third video up on the screen? Thanks.
People won't become who they want is because they're too attached to who they've been. And you hear it all the time when people say, I've always been this way. Okay, well, if that's working for you, keep doing that. I knew it wasn't working for me any longer. I had hit my version of rock bottom. So I was willing to let go of everything and everybody.
That's rough.
That is really rough, and everybody's rock bottom is different. That's the thing. I've seen some people hit rock bottom and they still weren't able to come out. And I think again because that fear is still so strong, and they're so afraid to get to the nitty gritty. Ask those questions of where's it come from. What's the root cause? Because it's the only way we're going to solve something. What's the root cause? The specific reason? How can I move past this? Is it even have anything to do with me? Or am I attaching to something that was something else, somebody else's issue in the family? Yeah, that's tough.
So I'm like thinking about how typically I think when we stay in situations that are really not serving us in a positive way, it's because our subconscious is kind of like keeping us there because there is a perceived benefit from staying there, whether that is like it's a safety net, it's like a financial safety net, or it's a safety net in terms of like having people to talk to, having friends, even though maybe the friends are like just not great sometimes. Like I know that there are people out there who have friendship circles and they're just not great. Like they're maybe a little bit judgmental or something, so they don't want to leave that friendship circle because then they're going to be alone. Or they don't want to leave the abusive relationship because they don't want to be alone. And so even though you're suffering, you continue to stay in the situation because there is a perceived benefit. And then, with the rock bottom thing, like I get that. I've had multiple rock bottoms where I've turned around and made decisions that of course were scary because I'm like, well, I don't know who I'm going to be. I don't know what the outcome of this is going to be. I feel like I'm just leaping off of a cliff.
Yeah. It's hard. And we're humans, right? So we're meant to belong. We want to be in the group. We're social beings, but at what cost to us, right? You have to remember who's, like you said, who's in your circle, and I don't want to say, benefit, but how are they helping you grow? Same values, beliefs. And again, like I said, a lot of my friends are opposite from me, but I've learned so much from them. And I just look at what I like about them and how we help each other grow, things like that. I don't really focus on the negative. But when you're around like-minded people, it is like you're elevated way up here. It's much different. I don't know. Rock bottom's tough. I guess I could say that period for a year when I was crying in the store and stuff, that I consider that my rock bottom. And I was wide open. I was so vulnerable at that point. I couldn't go back. I literally could not go back, even if I wanted to. I was like, I felt like I was like forced, and all these emotions were coming. Whether I wanted to handle it or not, it was going to happen. I was already so deep into it, which is great because I
Yeah.
probably would have ran back into that hole and like, no, keep me safe. Let me stick with those old patterns, right? Because they did serve me at that time, but no longer do they. And it's hard letting go.
No, it's funny because I've been in the exact same situation where I'm like I've progressed so far along this journey that there's literally no going back. I can't. It's impossible. I can't go back. I mean, well, I mean, I guess if I really wanted to, I could, but I don't. I don't
No,
want to do that.
no, no.
And the thing that kind of sucks, honestly, is when you're working on yourself and you're rewriting your story and you're creating a better life for yourself, you may find that you don't relate that much or mm, or that people don't understand you in a way like the new you're changing, you're growing, and it's like they don't understand the way you think. They don't understand your new perspectives. And it's like and then you find yourself just like I don't know, it becomes kind of like surface level and then you're like, okay, well, it just kind of is what it is. And either like if your frequency is up here now, the people are either going to stay at their level of frequency or they're going to choose to raise their frequency to meet yours. So really, when you're going through all this stuff, when you're making all these changes and you're improving yourself, the people around you do have a choice to meet you where you're at or to stay where they're at. And that is 1000% up to them. It's not up to you. And like either way, like you got to respect it. And maybe they stay down here just for a period of time and then they eventually decide that they also want to better their lives and then they meet you up where you're at.
No, I totally believe when you start progressing, living more authentically, that energy level, those people, even though they're here, you're still making a difference in their life, 100%. They may not go all the way up. They may be going up a little bit, but they are definitely, I feel like their energy is definitely rising up and transforming, and maybe they look at things a little bit different. But it's also okay. I will tell you that my circle has gotten smaller with my whole living authentically and working on myself, and I'm okay with that. I'm absolutely okay. Before I did all this work, would I say I'd be okay? No, because that fear base would be like, oh my gosh, I only have 5 friends, like true friends, and like what's wrong with me? I'm not good enough, nobody likes me, and I'm not pretty enough, right? I go down that rabbit hole of pulling this garbage out that's not even true. But I feel fine with it, and I actually long for alone time because it has helped me grow so much and be more authentic and for me to be able to speak my truth, which took me a long time to be able to do that. I always would hold back. I know what I want to say, but I was afraid to say it, which I think is the most liberating, and always in a kind manner, right? Whatever you say, but just being true to who you are and not worrying about what others are going to feel or are they going to reject you. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's a whole thing. And it's I know we're kind of at time right now, but I want to say to people out there who are considering like I guess stepping into this journey and changing their lives and, becoming somebody new. The time is going to pass anyway. This whole thing will take you probably like a few years to the rest of your life. So you can either continue what you're doing right now, which is totally valid. It's a valid choice. Or you can decide, no matter what your age is, to start to do the deep inner work, to dig and to release and to heal. And like I said, and it doesn't matter how much time passes. Do you want a better life in 4 years? Do you want a better life in 8 years? Do you want a better life in 20 years? Or do you want to just keep doing the same thing that you're doing for the rest of your life?
Yeah, it's all about living from the inside out. And if you told me that 17 years ago, I'd say you're crazy. But it's
Right.
absolutely true. It is all about that, and everything out here, that doesn't matter. That whole perception, it's yeah.
Oh man.
It's an amazing journey, but as you said, and I also say it doesn't matter when you start this. I don't care if you're 70 years old, 75, 80. As long as you're ready, start that journey. It's never too late.
Yes. Oh my gosh, my freaking throat. It's too early. Anyway, so that is our show. Thank you so much, Nancy, for being my amazing guest.
Thank you, Jessica. This was awesome, and love the videos. Great videos,
Yes.
great storyline. Yeah.
And if people would like to reach out to you, how may they do so?
So you can go to my website, which is called www.brightpath.net, and Bright is BRITE path.net.
Nice. I see Yoruba also found it. She's got it scrolling on the bottom of the
Perfect,
screen.
awesome. It's right on top of it. Great.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Alrighty,
This is
so-
amazing.
Yes. Alrighty, so we'll be back again next week. Yeah, I'm 99% sure we'll be back again next week at 9 o'clock in the morning Eastern Standard Time, because I know I have an expo. Oh, wait. Uh-oh. Nope, never mind. Sorry. I have an expo. I have an expo next weekend. I'm going to be at the Plymouth Meeting Mall in Plymouth Meeting, Pennsylvania, giving readings. So next week, there will not be a show, which is fine. There will be a show the week after that. So I will see you guys, everybody, in 2 weeks. And I hope everybody has, oh yeah, also like if you have any ideas for topics for the show, obviously like reach out and share them. I want to hear all of them. Or if you feel like you have something that you can like contribute to the planet and contribute to society in a way that is really beneficial, I don't care what you think your qualifications are. Like you don't need to be qualified. You like, because if you have this story, like don't let the imposter syndrome hold you back. So anyway, yeah, we'll see you in 2 weeks. And yeah, have an amazing week. Have an amazing week after that too. Okay. Bye.
Awesome. See you later.
Thanks for joining us